In this video, we will learn a new skill, the skill of providing good guidance. It's the most important skill out of all the skills we've learned so far. Guidance involves two things: praise and criticism. When someone does great work, you want to praise them. When someone doesn't do great work, you want to criticize them so that they can understand and get feedback to improve. But you don't want to be this guy. You don't want to feel like a bully. You don't want to feel like someone who's coming from authority and has no idea what's going on and all of that. So then what do? Well, you figure out ways in which you can not only give feedback or guidance, but also get feedback and criticism. So that two-way communication is a very important thing for you to set up as a boss. And it's not an easy thing. Jack Ma says a good boss is better than a good company if you're less than 30 years of age. Well, he says that for a big reason. A good boss knows how to give good guidance and he'll take care of you. So a very important reason for you to be a good boss is for you to give good guidance. You may be wondering, how do I start? One way to start is you can ask this specific question, which Fred Kaufman came up with. He says, is there anything I could do or stop doing that would make it easier to work with me? Think about this. When you ask this question, a lot of times people will be silent. They'll not respond. They'll be like, what? My boss is asking me for some criticism or some guidance or some feedback? He's never done that before. So people will be like, no one wants to say anything. So at that time, you should embrace that discomfort and count until 6 in your mind. 99% of the time, no one will still say anything to you. But that's okay. You started, right? But notice in the room, if there is someone who has something to say, and you can see it through their body language, encourage them to speak up. And when they speak up, reward them for speaking up. That action of yours sends a good signal that you care about criticism, about feedback. And as much as possible, do praises in public and criticism in private. And come from the angle of humility always, because you never know the other side of the equation. And one way to start a conversation or an email thread with the ground of being humble is to say things like this. This is a very great line. It starts, I'm going to describe a problem I see. I may be wrong. And if I am, I hope you will tell me. If I'm not, I hope my bringing up will help you fix it. Well, the humility is the first angle here. You're saying, I may be wrong. Please tell me if I'm wrong. If not, let's fix it. You can use this in a conversation, but you should especially use this in an email conversation. So be humble. There are some more tips that you can use during guidance. When you provide criticism especially, you should attack the problem and not the person. Separate the two. If you mix the person with the problem, saying, hey, you are a bad coder, instead of the code was a poor quality, now all of a sudden you are personalizing things and it just becomes so hard for you to work with that person in the future than it would be if you just attack the problem. So attack the problem and not the person. And use these 3 things when you attack the situation. Look at the situation, look at the behavior that was done, and look at the impact that caused. Example. 2 times yesterday, code was deployed. No one checked or ran tests. Impact, users suffered. The website was not usable. When you look at this, you're objective, not subjective. So you're attacking the problem of tests being not run. And when these situations happen, when you have to provide feedback, give feedback instantaneously, in the moment. because everything is fresh. Otherwise, everyone's forgotten. So instant feedback is the key towards good guidance. You will not remember the full context. The other person will not remember. So instant feedback is very good. And whenever possible, 99% of the time, give criticism in private, in person, not over text, email, none of that. But if someone's remote, maybe at least do a video call. Understand, see their facial reactions, see how they feel, validate that they understood what you're trying to say. But if you do it over email, message, etc., it's just so hard to misinterpret everything. It's hard to convey the message. Praises can be private, praises can be public if they're specific, and private most likely should be criticism, should be in private. Now you're thinking, what if I could be radically candid with my boss for giving guidance? Be careful. You're warned. Don't get fired by radically challenging your boss without, asking permission. Seeing your boss, what tip would be useful is to check. Ask for permission whether you should give guidance to your boss. There may be times where you do not agree with your boss or the decision that the boss makes. At that time, you should listen. You should challenge the decision that the boss is making. Now, with that challenge, you check whether you have the permission to challenge. If the boss gives you the permission to challenge, you feel comfortable, because now you're not going to get fired, is you understand what the reasoning is for your boss to not understand your challenge. Maybe you're missing out a bigger point. Most likely you will learn a new thing. Even then, when you don't agree, at some point you need to commit as a team and just still finish the work or do what the decision was, because there might be larger organizational need for certain decisions that you just cannot be brought up to speed with. So be very careful being radically candid with your boss. Well, if you want to be, if I'm saying be very careful, applies to you as well, because if you're trying to get radically candid feedback and guidance from your team member, they will also be very careful telling you anything. So give them the permission, challenge them, but also acknowledge and reward if they bring it up. Performance reviews or evaluation days. The last thing you want to know is there are surprises in your evaluation. In this, it says there's nothing in your performance that needs to change other than everything. So you don't want to, give guidance during performance reviews which surprises the other person. Performance review is a very important time where you're actually writing down everything that you have given guidance over time. It's important to learn how to do effective performance reviews. And especially important to remember that there is this bias that a lot of people have, and it's easy to fall into this trap. So gender bias is an important thing. When you write a performance review, try to see if that same review, if you wrote for a male versus a female, would that change if a male person did it versus a female person did it? And be very careful when you have that bias in mind to correct it with that switching of roles. You want to give equal guidance to both male and female. Both of them deserve your best guidance. Equal quality, equal footing, without any bias. Because that gives everyone the opportunity to grow. If you do not give guidance to women because you are afraid that they'll be very sensitive or they will cry, and it's actually wrong for the woman who on the other side, because now all of a sudden they're not getting the critical guidance that they need from you. You got to deliver the way in which they get the guidance in the right way. If they cry, you need to understand how to soothe them, but at the same time, you cannot stop giving guidance. That's just harmful for them and harmful for you as a leader. And so switching gender in your write-up and testing whether that still applies will help you be bias-free. There should be no surprises in performance reviews. That's the last thing you want. Writing it down makes it concrete for you. And also, unilaterally, if you feel certain things, you should validate it with 360 feedback from other people, whether what you feel is right or if there is a better feedback. You should be doing skip levels with your manager's reports so that you get a better sense of how You could give feedback to your immediate managers. You should send all of the performance reviews right up slightly in advance so that they can read. And don't schedule performance reviews back to back. It's an emotional thing. It can run along. It takes a toll on your energy as a boss. You want to take care of yourself too. So give it an hour break, and then do your performance reviews. And if there are issues that you bring up in performance reviews, make sure you check the progress on a follow up meeting. Same for your managers. Hopefully, with all of these tips, giving guidance will lead people to exceptional performance. And performance reviews wouldn't be as of a challenge because you're giving constant guidance, praise, and criticism all throughout the way. Have a good guidance sessions overall. Thanks.